Hi everyone, this is Artie. In this lecture we will take a quick look at how to use photo textures to enhance your paintings. First, a quick word of caution. Photoshop makes using photo textures so fun and easy that an artist can really get carried away and end up way overdoing it. Don't fall into this amateur trap. Remember that we are using photos only as a subtle texture in order to enhance our paintings. Don't rely on photos too heavily. Okay, with that being said, let's check out this really cool technique. Once again, I have our humble sphere rendering exercise from Art Fundamentals. I've given it just a bit of color so that you can see how photo textures interact with the color painting beneath. This is a very simplified example, but when using photo textures in a real project, at this point you would have your painting very nearly finished. Design is complete and it's fully rendered in color. All that remains is final polish, and that's where photos come in. Check out this layer group called Photos. I've pasted in two cool texture photos from my library. One is a cracked sidewalk and the other is an old brick covered in little green bits of algae or something. We're going to use these two photos to punch up our sphere and make it more interesting, colorful, and rich. So I'm going to make a copy of this entire layer group and I'll rename the copy Photo Textures. Next, we're going to mask out this entire photo texture layer group so that the photos can only be seen within the silhouette of the sphere. We do that by command-clicking on the sphere layer over here, which creates a selection. We then go over to the layer mask icon and click it. As you can see, now the photos in the photo texture layer group are only visible inside the sphere. We'll never have to worry about any of these photos going outside of the sphere's shape. Up next is the important part, so pay close attention to this step. With the photo texture layer group selected, we go to this drop-down menu which changes the layer blending mode. We then go down to Soft Light. As you can see, suddenly the photos interact with the sphere layer below in a whole different way. We can see the color and rendering form of the sphere below, but we are still getting all of this cool texture from the photo. Pretty cool, right? Let's do that one more time just to make sure that you've got it. So jumping back to normal blending mode, and then once again we select Soft Light to achieve the desired effect. Now you've certainly noticed that there are quite a few different blending modes, but with very few exceptions, this is the only one that I really use very regularly. Once we have Soft Light set for this entire layer group, we can start to manipulate the photos themselves to fit the shape better. For this exercise, we'll transform them to seem to fit the spherical shape more naturally. So I do that by hitting Command-T to bring up the free transform function. If I hold down Control and click, it brings up all of these other great transform options. For this one, let's use my favorite, the Warp function. As you can see, it divides the transform into 9 subsections that we can bend and manipulate with lots of control. They make this flat photo seem spherical. Let's just bend the corners to kind of wrap it around. After we're done with all 4 corners, we can do some subtle bending to the interior lines as well. Whatever you need to do really to make the texture fit the underlying shape. And as you can see, once things start to fit together, they start to look really realistic. So let's try this again with this moldy brick photo. We just hit Command-T to bring up the transform function. We then Control-click to bring up the other transform options and select Warp. From there, it's just a matter of bending things around to fit the underlying shape, and we are left with a pretty realistic looking finished product. This technique has applications across the board on just about every course that we teach here. Characters, creatures, environments, machines, just about anything can benefit from the punch that an artfully placed photo texture can provide. I hope you found this useful. Now let's put it to good use back in our project.